Hi guys, this is Doctorian. Today I wanted to talk about the problems of the moonkin. The moonkin has, in my concern, a lot of problems. Those problems come from how the class is working and what Blizzard did with it. And of course I'm talking about 5.4, okay? I'm not talking about Warless Adrenaline changes yet or whatever, because we have to see and wait for that. But I want kind of to explain like what is going on with the class and why they're not good for challenge modes, why we barely see any druids in there. It's actually pretty simple. It's like moonkins are really based on high gear. It's all the whole problem with this is that we depend on some caps we get, like our haste cap, our and the amounts of crit we need. The biggest problem what we have right now is that we need to get a haste cap. We need to get, and you can see my buff here taking the Nature's Grace buff, is that we need to get into 15 seconds to the other side from Eclipse to Eclipse. If we cannot do that, we're gonna lose our DPS, and that's a big issue. That's really something which is a problem. Because if we can't get there in time, if we can't switch from Eclipse within 15 seconds because we have a lot of movement, or we have some other stuff, like right now we lost that Nature's Grace buff and we're gonna lose DPS because that Nature's Grace buff gives us so much spell haste. It's so important to have 10 ticks on our dots instead of having 7 ticks, that right now I'm lost DPS because this boss mechanic is involved, and that's a big issue. That's also the issue why moonkins are so terribly bad at actually being in challenge modes, because right now if you bring a moonkin to a challenge mode, damn it, they need a certain amount of we need crit and we need haste for our caps, and whatever you do, you're not gonna reach it in those in that nerfed 463 gear. So as a moonkin, you're basically, as DPS, the worst DPS to bring, which is such a shame, because if you like what you're playing, if you love to be a moonkin just like I am, I mean, I think it's one of the most amazing classes out there. People don't want to take you into their challenge modes just because you suck, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's not a gear issue because everybody's getting nerfed, but nobody is getting that much trouble from it like the moonkin. Because when we don't have our haste cap, which is 5,273, let's have a look up. Haste, yeah, I'm a little bit overcapped. But if you do not have that, then you're going to be completely, basically, into trouble because your dots won't tick as much as they should. And it's gonna give you the problem that your DPS will drop so much because you don't have enough. You don't have enough ticks on your dots. You won't have because your crit rating is nerfed because of the gear. You won't. Your dots won't crit enough. You won't get enough star surges, and you won't move within those 15 seconds to from Eclipse to Eclipse, which is a huge problem, which is nerfing your DPS into the freaking ground. You're actually gonna be useless in a challenge mode. I was actually in a challenge mode with this moonkin, and it really sucked. I was like the lowest guy, and I did so shit DPS. I was so sick of it that I actually just took my alt hunter, put it out there, and we just made gold no problem. We got in there really fast. We struggled to get there in time, and we tried like 5 times. I was guys, this is insane. I'm gonna bring my I'm not gonna bring this moonkin anymore. I gotta pick up my hunter, and I'm gonna come on my hunter because this is bullshit. It just went on my hunter, did 2 to 3 times as much DPS as on my moonkin, and we just got gold in the first try I was there on my hunter. That's really sad. That's really disappointing because moonkins are like right now. If you're starting to gear one, you're so gear dependent. Really. Best way for you to go, if you want to go into challenge mode, is either go as feral, which you have to practice a lot, in my opinion. I think it's not one of the easiest spec, and I think it's not fun at all. But that's my opinion. I mean, if you like it, go ahead. Or you should roll tank or resto druid to get into a challenge mode, because otherwise people don't want to bring you. That's a really sad thing. Also, on the start of an expansion, you come into this problem. That was also the problem in Mist of Pandaria, that you completely suck. You are not good enough to actually be there because you lack the stats. You have to have like proper gear to do proper DPS. I mean, a hunter and a mage are doing way better than you with the same item level. If I have 520 as a moonkin, I'm a really shitty DPS. There's nothing I can do about it because maybe I can make the haste cap, but I don't have enough crit to get those Star Search procs off to actually be all I can be and move within those 15 seconds of Nature's Grace until to the next eclipse, which is basically a problem. So that's a big thing. I mean, having a class that depends so much on gear, so much on their on that haste cap and on that, hold on, I'm gonna help these guys out, on that haste cap and on so much crit, it's really crazy. It really is, because it's just a huge problem that you have to depend. I mean, I didn't roll moonkin until I got some decent resto gear. I was a resto druid as an alt, and I got all the resto gear. And then I was like, okay, oh, he's standing over here right now, gonna move. I was like, okay, I got a fair amount of resto gear, now I can switch to moonkin. And that's basically how I roll. And that's really sad, because you can't get into a normal guild, normal raiding guild, or a normal raiding team as a moonkin, because you don't have the gear yet. That's a sad thing. You only can do with the right amount of gear, with a lot of gear, you can catch up to classes. And once you got that gear, like right now I'm 557, now I can catch up. Now I'm there on the spot. But it saddens me that you have to have a certain amount of gear, a good high item level, to actually compete with other classes. Because when you started the Siege of Orgrimmar, let's say you cleared Trinit on the normal, you reached up to 22 item level, and you went into Siege of Orgrimmar normal. As a 522 druid, you would really suck, and people didn't want you because you couldn't put out those numbers. Because a mage, a warlock, a hunter, any other class, except for the Shadow Priest, maybe, but any other class would actually out DPS you. And when we get to higher item levels, then we're viable, and that kind of sucks, because you have to play a different role. You have to say, okay, I'm Guardian, but we as a guild want to have a moonkin, and we're gonna bring that into the future. So we're gonna give you some resto gear, or you're gonna be a resto druid, and then two people need to switch because of that. Somebody needs to go a healer, and you need to go a moonkin, or you need to just invest all your time into actually crafting gear and doing LFR and flex modes, and still with some flex items still I have, people will still out DPS you. Your guild needs to carry you. If you're saying, okay, if a guild wants to have a moonkin in their raid team, they basically have to take care that he's getting geared up, otherwise he will do shit DPS. And especially in a 10-man team, having one player who sucks is not really a strong suit. So that's my opinion right now about the moonkin, is that it's a lovely class. It's really fun to play. It's really amazing to play. but we're too stat dependent, we're too gear dependent, and that's an issue for me, because you can never step into this class, never step into the role unless you have some good gear, unless you're getting there. Otherwise, if you don't have the Nature's Grace buff gives you 15 seconds to move from Eclipse to Eclipse state. If you cannot make it because you don't have enough crit rating, or you don't have enough haste to actually get enough ticks on your dots. But the moment, and that's what I'm also seeing, is the moment when you have a lot of movement in a fight. You have that movement into your fight, and then you can't finish your rotation. You won't be there in 15 seconds. You're gonna have a problem because your dot's gonna run off, and you're in that problem that your DPS is going to suck, just because. There we go. Just because this fight is working that way, I have to move a hell of a lot. I never can make it within those 15 seconds, so my dot's gonna do way less damage. It's gonna do 7 ticks of damage instead of actually doing the full 10 ticks and getting me the full Nature's Grace buff from Eclipse to Eclipse state. Now that's a problem. That's a shame, and I'm not going into the changes they're going to make in for Waters of Drana, because I believe there are some changes coming, depending if Blizzard is keeping things right now, because after all it's the alpha, we don't know what is coming. But right now it's a lovely char. I think still people should play it, but keep in mind that only with high amounts of gear, with the right stats, like enough haste with enough crit, you will be able to pull good DPS. And the problem is that basically you can see my Nature's Grace taking there, and I still have 3 seconds to get to the other side, which if I don't get enough crits, there we go, my Dutch Wolf. I just made it like you can see. So that's basically how this is working, and so yeah, it's kind of, we really are gear dependent. Keep that in mind whenever you start a moonkin. Don't go compare yourself straight away. Oh, we still got one up. Hold on. Don't go compare yourself straight up to whatever mage, lock, hunter, whatever elemental shami, whatever you run into, because until you get your haste cap, until you have enough crit, like you should aim at least to get a crit cap above 30%, 35% as fast as possible. So only then you can start competing, and until that time you're just gonna have a DPS problem, and you're gonna be behind everybody else, and so you should keep that in mind when you're starting to raid with a moonkin, that there are some issues for you when you're actually playing moonkin. So you're really gear dependent, and I know there are some changes coming in the next future, and I will make another video about it. I will talk about what will actually, will moonkin be fixed? Will we be less gear dependent instead of being in need of that much gear to actually perform? But that's another video for another time. Let me know what you guys think about a moonkin. Do you agree with what I'm saying? Do you agree like it's a shitty class when you're low gear, that's why we can't do challenge mode because we're too stat dependent? Or do you think it's fine, keep it this way? Let me know, guys. What is your opinion about all of this? Thanks for watching, and see you next time, guys. Bye.